What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Download Queue, episode 31. My camera is on. We're getting used to OBS. Hello. Uh, each and every week, we're joined here, twitch.tv/Badlands Backlogs, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, talk about all things video games. But this week, we're also, catch us on YouTube. We're branching out, trying new things. As always, joined by my friend Kyle the Fish. How are you doing, sir? Busy week.
Yeah, busy week. Just got up from a nap at 3:38 and said, "Oh no, this nap was an afternoon and it wasn't supposed to be."
You have 2 minutes to get ready.
Pretty much, it was like, "Oh God, we gotta go." But we're here. Yeah, went to the aquarium with my daughter. It's her first birthday this past week, so celebrated that. Kind of ended up going offline a little bit, but we're
You
here
needed some
this
time.
week. Yeah, you always got to step away for a little bit. Always do that for yourself. Make sure you have something to step away to as well. That's the big one.
Yeah, that was when I was gone for my vacation. Like, it was so nice not being attached at the hip to my phone all the time, keeping up with everything. Like, yeah, it sucks trying to reacclimate afterwards, but that disconnect is very much needed.
For real, like that's what the world is. Like when you disconnect, you're like, oh yeah, it's not just Twitter and X and all the other online stuff. It doesn't actually matter, but it's fun to talk about when people
Sometimes.
don't take it too serious, right? Like, look, we want to talk about video games and entertainment and dumb nerd stuff. Don't Can we just have a world where we can do that and everyone can do that if they want to, you know? But hey, that's other stuff.
It is. And sadly, that came up again this week. We're going to avoid it personally because the rumor mill's swirling again, but...
I'm not even sure what you're referencing.
Oh, you're not? It's,
I like that.
Do you want to know? Because it's not...
Is it the WooCon stuff, or you're talking about something else?
No, it's more Xbox stuff.
Oh, okay.
Another
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Another announcement supposedly this next week on a big quote unquote title from Xbox going to PlayStation again. So all that is starting up again in the news cycle. And
Oh, see, you get the negative side of that still. I only see just like, duh.
yeah,
It's out of my sphere of people. It's just like, I mean, yeah, they. Because I think the rumor, what? Let's just talk about it. It's Forza Horizon 5. Is that the
that I
rumor
also saw Indiana Jones.
Yeah. See, and again, Forza Horizon as an old title is a great game to put on other platforms to sell. It's definitely bigger than the other ones like Sea of Thieves and the other batch that went to PlayStation.
40 million players worldwide as of July.
Yeah, I understand Horizon going over, but the big one, obviously, Indiana Jones. If that goes over, that feels like, oh, whoa, that's crazy. But again, that is a Bethesda studio. And I think if Xbox just has their Microsoft first party brand new games, Xbox console exclusive and PC, and they don't move over, I don't think it's that big a deal. If Bethesda and Activision Studios, if their games are the ones that go over on day one, cool. That's awesome. I think let the studios decide. There's 3 studios that Microsoft Gaming owns with Xbox, Bethesda, and Activision. Xbox needs to be console exclusive. I think I think that's where I've landed on that.
Yep.
And either the other ones, I don't care. I think that's like a solid platform to still have your games, quote, your games on all platforms while still maintaining this is why you should buy a box. But guess what? It's also on PC and we don't care. So like
Yeah, that's the... It's just, again, like you said, on my side, sadly, I guess because of people I interact with or like or whatever, it's a more negative viewpoint on things. But this time around, I will say I've seen more of fans stepping up and being like, hey, if this happens, cool. If not, cool. Let's worry about it when we get there, though, and not feed the rumors beforehand and get an uproar. Which was a nice change. And it's eventually gone back where some of the people who initially leaked it, Shinobi on Twitter, has now gone back and deleted the original tweets talking about it. So now people are back in, oh, is it happening? Whatever. Like, again, it's the same stuff all year round. I just want to play games and have fun.
Yeah, yeah, I do like the hey, it's like worth talking about at some points, but then like if it's negative, what's the point? Like, just wait till they say something. Like, I get be like, oh man, that would be crazy if it happened. That's where the conversation ends, right? Like, he's like, I don't want that to happen, but if they do, we'll see. But yeah, people take it too far, and it becomes like fact, like they are doing it, and it's like they haven't said a thing. It's like when you were like, oh, they're thinking about putting COD everywhere. Of course they are. They're thinking about putting Call of Duty only on Game Pass. Of course they are.
They're
It's
thinking
a
about making a
business.
ton of money. Crazy.
Yeah, they're apparently they are thinking in these executive suites. We'll have more later. It's like a duh. Like so, yeah. I that's cool to see. Like kind of from your end too, hearing like you're seeing more people kind of have a more like
Push back on
general
it. Yeah.
point of view. You know, like yeah, pushback on just having this like going way too far in one direction, and everyone's kind of coming back to the middle of like, hey, whoa, can we wait till we get all the facts and like stop jumping to conclusion on everything? That's what's making the internet so dumb. But I do expect to see some at least one announcement from Xbox this Gamescom this next week because that's kind of what we're hinting at here. But I don't think anything huge, and I don't think outside of them announcing, hey, here's a couple other games, maybe 2 to 3 to 4 games we're going to put on PlayStation as well. Depending on what those are, can be like, all right, whatever, to holy shit. But I just don't think Gamescom is a holy shit game show.
So yeah, let's jump into Gamescom. Have that be
Yeah.
the first topic we went in. Happening opening night live is Tuesday, I believe, if I'm correct. Um, for those that don't know, Gamescom is essentially the European version of what used to be E3 here, except 5 times the scale. Much larger, much larger attendance, but not as known for, as you said, big announcements, big reveals, stuff like that. Um, More kind of niche things. Uh, I'm trying to find a list here of previous stuff. Jeff Keighley, Game Awards himself, is in charge of Opening Night Live and has already released a list of confirmed games scheduled to appear. Everything from Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Monster Hunter Wilds, which I think it was. No, it was Game Awards, it was revealed last year. Indiana Jones, Little Nightmares 3, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Batman Arkham Shadow, the VR game, Dune Awakening for you, Marvel Rivals, Squid Game Unleashed, didn't know that was a thing. A new game from Tarsier Studios, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Lost Records Bloom and Rage, plus more. So, I mean, trying to find the list here. As I said, it's not really. You're not getting the next Kingdom Hearts 4 announcement. You're not going to get the next Dark Souls announcement at here. It's always been kind of known stuff coming out later in the year. Last year, I believe, the larger titles were Alan Wake 2, got a big reveal. Assassin's Creed Mirage was last year. Mortal Kombat 1 was revealed last year. So some mixed things. I'll be watching, obviously, keeping up with all the news, but I'm not going in with super high hopes, expecting to see crazy, world-altering things that are going to change the rest of the year game-wise. So even with this list of what is confirmed, it all seems to be pretty much just updates and deeper looks to get you ready for the fall and get pre-orders going for certain titles.
Yeah, stuff that's probably going to be there on the floor to some degree. Stuff like that, yeah. Yeah, it's not a bad list, of course, but yeah, it just reaffirms the show being this. We're just going to be talking about what's coming up, and that's fine. So yeah, it's weird. Like it's exciting that Gamescom's here. I know stuff is going to come out of it, but it's not anything that's shocking, right? We're not getting a Switch 2 announcement. We're not getting Xbox hardware announcements. I don't expect PlayStation to announce the Pro console here.
What if we did?
Stuff like that.
What if this was the show we got the Xbox handheld at?
Imagine all three of them, like they come like one by one, they come out to the stage. Everyone's like, "What the hell?" And it's like, we thought we'd do it all together. Here's our 3 trailers announcing our 3 hardware. This coming out this holiday, overlaid on top of each other because we're monsters.
Because we're monsters.
You watch it all at once.
This is our way of shaking hands and making nice.
in the most chaotic way. Yeah. No, I don't think this is the place or time for it. So, but yeah, solid list. I'm excited to watch it and see what at least one or two little surprises, game announcements will come out of this, especially with the Keeley show, specifically, of course. But yeah, nothing crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing, even
I
with
am excited to see more Dune Awakening. With Destiny being in a weird spot, Dune's kind of there's an opportunity for Dune Awakening to not that it's a one to what Destiny's doing. It's not at all the same, but I mean, who knows? So I'm keeping my eye on that one. That's like the game I think I'm most looking forward to seeing.
that's with Keeley shows, even when they're kind of mid or don't quite hit as people are building them up to be, there is always still at least one big thing. So definitely worth keeping eyes on. We'll see. Give me that Xbox handheld because that would be wild.
I can't imagine this is where they do it, but
They announced the
I'd take it.
Series X at Game Awards.
Yeah, but that's Game Awards. This isn't Game Awards.
I don't.
I think, yeah, it would elevate what this is, which doesn't matter. Like, if they're ready to announce something, they can. I mean, is this too late to announce hardware for holiday? They already did the Series X digital though, but I guess it goes for all three.
The PS5
You
Pro
know?
that's been rumored.
Yeah, because they said Sony's at Gamescom to some degree, right? They said.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. Just a simple announcement of another SKU that isn't anything crazy, but does something.
I just saw in the comments for this someone posted Wolf Among Us 2, which that would be dope to see. I was a big fan of that when
Mm.
that originally dropped. I know it's a new team and that's been kind of muddled, but
Yeah, I missed that game, but like, yeah, I've been. How long have we been hearing about the sequel for that? It feels like forever. So
years.
that'd be cool to see. Or oh man, what Hollow Knight, Silk Song?
So I think Jeff actually came out and confirmed it wasn't today. Came out with a tweet just to get people down.
That's just what someone who maybe has Silk Song ready to be released would say.
God, can you imagine? There was
He's like, I lied to you all.
there was the
I'm
one
just
other
kidding.
rumor that this may be the announcement for Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox. That's supposedly done and ready to go, just waiting on Square to announce it, so I can see that being here.
That's a great one. That's a big one too. That gets a pop.
I would love if it was bundled, DLC bundled too, because that DLC is something I haven't gotten to for that yet. Obviously, beat it, but have that one bundle on my
So
Xbox, yes, please.
Game Pass or no? Too soon? Does Xbox shell it
Ooh,
out?
ooh, I could see, yeah, but if it is, it's gonna be like for a month or two only. Like I don't see them getting like a full year or 6 months out of it, like enough to get people noticing on it. Because the all the remasters I believe have been on outside of the Pixel remaster, which still isn't on Xbox. But 10 was at one time, Kingdom Hearts was at one time. Like they've
Mm-hmm.
had the major. I think 15 still is right now. Like they've had the other major ones on there, and that would be kind of reminiscent of what they did with Yakuza. Predominantly PlayStation franchise, very first one to come to Xbox, launched on Game Pass. So would
Yeah, it'd be
be
interesting.
cool. Before our next topic, I want to bring in something back because it'll kind of ease us over to sort of the main topic of the show today. But I want to bring back because you recently played Bioshock. I'm in the background lightly playing The Last of Us for the first time. I want to bring back get to know us question that we used to open with, kind of, and I want to know what's a game or series that you haven't played that is wildly either loved or regarded as like a must play series. Because God, do I have a list that I was thinking about finally of stuff that people talk about as being their favorites, and it's just stuff I've never even either touched or beaten or given the time of day to.
Yeah, BioShock was like a big one for me just because of the twists that I kept hearing about, and that's like for years, casually hearing about it from people. People. Oh yeah, BioShock. I've never played it. Oh my god! It's like, and I don't know anything about it, so don't spoil it. Oh my gosh, you know nothing. Like you got to play it. Finally beat it this year, and I get it right. So that was like a huge one for me. I still have two and Infinite that I will play
Eventually.
at some point. Um, but away from that, I can't even think.
Okay,
What is your list? Yeah,
I'll give
like
you time to think. I got, like I said, I have a list, and it's a range of either I haven't touched at all or just never have beaten. Which I feel for a lot of these, especially like older titles, like it's a thing you need to beat to understand. The one we've talked about on here before, GTA 5, still haven't touched it. Downloaded it multiple
that.
times, never played. Um,
Have you played any GTA at all, or
San Andreas and 4. GTA
and
4 is
that's
actually where I met my friend Jeremy, who did a wrestling episode with back in the day. Was on multiplayer on
but
GTA 4.
why have you not picked up 5?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know if it because of the time it came out, like leading in the new console series. Or if I was just more focused on that sort of thing, like getting on like launch titles and stuff. I've had the intentions to. I've downloaded it both times it's come to Game Pass. It's been on my Xbox. I just
Yeah,
never
it's a
dove in, and I think it could be also a time thing. Like I see how big it is and
yeah.
how the world and multiplayer and how much that's like required to get full enjoyment, and it kind of steers me away.
Yeah, I would say the story does not require any multiplayer. But I do hear like the time requirement in multiplayer to enjoy it. That is a commitment for sure. I've hopped in the multiplayer of GTA 5 a couple times and like had fun, but just I don't do it outside of like 2 days in a row every now and then, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, man, it's still one of their top tier stories. I think Red Dead 2 is their peak storytelling for Rockstar. Uh, but like the story in GTA 5 is great. It's so solid. And even like with the updates they do in the Series S, the next gen update patch, whatever it is, like it still looks good. It still runs well. It's so fascinating that you've missed this. Like you just haven't played it yet.
Haven't played. Seen people play, obviously. Seen videos, watched gameplay, just not personally.
Yeah.
Adding on to
I
that,
don't
though,
think so. Wait, so are you gonna do GTA 6 though? Or
I
is
feel
that
like
just
I
like
almost
you don't even
need to
know?
at the point. At that point,
Hmm.
like if we're still going with this, like I feel like I need to be a part of the conversation at that point.
Yeah,
So I
that's a
mean,
good point.
probably
Maybe that's when you start GTA 5.
leading up to it, kind of play them.
You could get a ton of like hate engagement if you're like playing a new GTA 6 the day before it comes out and it's GTA 5 and you just act like you didn't know.
Purposely
You're like,
mistitle
wait, are you?
everything.
You're like, it's the last one. You're like, I'm what?
This looks so good for 13 years old.
Yeah, wow, they really cooked.
Really cooked.
Which is honestly how old GTA 6 is. It's like 13 years in development,
Yeah,
right?
it's wild.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
so interesting. But yeah, what else?
what else?
What's up?
Resident Evil franchise. Never beaten a single one. I dabbled in Code Veronica on PS2. Never beat. Never rolled credits. Never beat Resident Evil 4. Legend of Zelda. Never beat a single one. I remember renting Majora's Mask as a child multiple times, but obviously I'd lose my save file every time coming back. Never beat. Metroid. I've maybe played for like 5 minutes total. Never beat any of them. What else? Mass Effect was the other one. Never played any Mass Effects till last year, I think it was, and I finally dove into the remaster collection, whatever. And God, what bad games! Give me the hate online. My Mass Effect 1 playthrough was so plagued with bugs and glitches where the last boss fight to beat the game, he glitched through the floor, and my two teammates were dead floating in the air, or like just stuck floating in the air and couldn't do any movements. And I just stood there for like 5 minutes before giving up. because I couldn't physically shoot him. He was in the floor, out of bounds of the world. Just a bad experience all the way around.
Yeah, I experienced buggy with Bioshock Remastered, so I get it.
Yeah, there
The
you
first
go.
time I played, I also didn't play Mass Effect when it came out. I remember getting a demo disc for the first Mass Effect from GameStop. It was attached to some game. I think it was Halo. Uh, I never stuck it in the thing. I said, this game looks weird. I never played it. And then, yeah, once the Legendary Edition came out, I bought it, played the first one, and I'm on the second one. I just fell off of it. Now it's a series I want to go back to because, yeah, I like chose Halo and Gears growing up, Madden and the sports games. And the Mass Effect was one I was like, no, that looks weird.
Again, it was the time commitment, but
Yeah. Well, also like money, and then you're a kid, and then
yeah,
if no one is in your direct sphere talking about stuff, like no one talked about Mass Effect, right? So I never heard about it, but I knew Halo. Played that with friends. I knew, obviously, Call of Duty. Like that's kind of what it shifted into, and yeah, just never had no one talk about Mass Effect except the GameStop employees. It was like, no, I don't want to buy this. Stop it.
they were like, "Please buy it and give us an additional $10 because we're GameStop."
And like, yeah, you can get the new edition of Game Informer with a deep dive into Mass Effect 2. I said, I don't care. This magazine's going to be around forever. I don't have to worry about getting this issue right now. I was 10 years old. I didn't know what was going on. I don't know how old I was when Mass Effect came out, actually.
2007. I 13, 12, 13 for me.
Yeah, same. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's part of my list. Mega Man's in there too. Sonic, never beat.
Yeah, missed a lot of like the Nintendo games. Like, I've played a Pokemon, but I haven't beaten one still. I have one more I have one more fight, and then I beat Pokemon, whatever the most recent one, Violet.
Like one more gym fight.
Literally, I'm fighting your best. Like, it's literally one more fight. I've one more fight, but I lost twice to it, so I have to go run around the world and level up my Pokemon, and that's like, and then I beat a Pokemon for game for the first time, and I've just full stopped. But yeah, I've missed like Pokemon games, so like I don't get the nostalgia for them. I don't care. I tried with this one and I played it, but it was all passive. Um, I also didn't do the Resident Evil games, and I don't get them. I think they're slow. I don't enjoy them. I don't enjoy the shooting with them. And I wonder how much of like these same like like there's games like can you go back and even like find enjoyment in them if you don't have that nostalgia? Because going back to BioShock, outside of the story, like I hated the gameplay. And like if I didn't know there was something coming that was worth it and still talked about today, I don't know if I would have kept playing it. So I wonder like can you go back and even play Resident Evil and find enjoyment in it?
Very much like product of its time type thing.
Yeah.
Which then I think it ties into the Final Fantasy argument, where no matter who you are, your favorite Final Fantasy is usually the very first one you played, because that's what you had like the most attachment to, and that doesn't really change. That's why so many people are addicted to 7. So it's kind of that thing where it's
That
like,
makes sense.
yeah, I had this back when things were good. I played it multiple times, and it brings me happiness. But then on the other hand, you have like the Resident Evil 4 remake that came out and blew everyone away, and everyone was back in love with it. So I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of Nintendo stuff for both of us, which leads us into Nintendo Switch 2, Kyle. Something we thought we were supposed to be getting this year. Something that everyone thought we were supposed to be getting this year until they threw a curveball and they're like, hey, joke's on you. Wait another couple months because we're Nintendo. But what do we want from a Nintendo Switch 2? What do we want from the successor to the little handheld home console hybrid that's edging the sales numbers for PS2, that's completely brought Nintendo around from the Wii U days and the absolute mess they had then. And while not perfect, and it's definitely had its fumbles across hardware and game issues, software issues, still is just pumping millions and billions of dollars for good old Mr. Nintendo over there. And coming up on its last life, last couple months, we have kind of the roadmap leading out of this generation. Mario and Luigi Brothership is this year. They have that new Legend of Zelda game coming out later this year. I forget the name off the top of my head. Excuse me. Echoes of
Echoes of
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yep. So they have kind of their showcase titles still coming. What do we think Switch 2 is going to be? Do you think it's going to be a handheld still? Think it's going to be a hybrid? Think they're going to go one way or the other? How much porting do we think they're going to do?
100% it's a hybrid. 100%. Like, I don't think they can get away from that with the Switch line, and I do think the Switch 2 is a Switch successor, straight up, not a Wii U to the Switch, right? Even though you could see the from Wii to Wii U to Switch, you see the language adapt and evolve between those consoles, right? It still was a jump, I think, and it was. I think we'll see something closer to what we get with like the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Advance SP, the DS, the DS Lite, the DSi, all those SKUs. I think that's kind of more the angle for a Switch successor. They're doing so well. It's people still buy Switch, people are still playing them. They just need to be able to run more games. They need to be able to run kind of some more intense games. So I think it's kind of what this update to the hardware will be mostly. I do think the secret to getting like games at higher frames is the AI, the frame generation or the DLSS. I know I think that one's NVIDIA specific, but like that technology, which is just making up frames in the moment as opposed to your computer rendering them, significantly makes games perform better. And like that's going to be built into the console. And that's like Xbox is doing it, PlayStation is doing it. All sounds like that being built in, I think is really, really interesting. And I think it is going to provide the ability for a ton of games to go on to Switch. I mean, we had games like Mortal Kombat 1 on Switch. Did it run well? No. We have NBA 2K, the most recent one, on Switch. Does it run well? No, but it's doing it, right? Like, so now they do it. I bet people have bought those games. No, I don't think the numbers are crazy for NBA 2K on Switch, but I bet it's sold enough where they're like, all right, this is what people want. People are, you know, allegedly breaking into the Switches or downloading allegedly onto like Steam and onto their PCs emulators that get Breath of the Wild to run at 60 frames and such. It's like Nintendo sees that. So I think that's what this Switch successor really is. It's hitting those metrics, getting it up to snuff. I think that could just be the dock too. I think you take the Switch OLED and you do nothing to it outside of maybe battery life, maybe some internal stuff.
Bigger
But you plug
screen.
that into the dock, and that is your 4K 60 GPU essentially, and it just upreses everything. It just is like a attached thing. I could see that being the almost like the stopgap solution to a new console. Just hey, this will improve everything for everyone if you buy this new dock. So maybe it's just the dock, but yeah, I don't need anything crazy out of a Switch 2. I think what they found with the Switch is so brilliant and so fun. I don't know what other gimmicks you could do with it without changing it all. You just have to still be able to switch it from handheld to TV mode if it's going to be called the Switch.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of. That's pretty on point with I feel a lot of the internet of how they view it and the memes of like new Super Nintendo Switch or whatever. Like,
Well, they got it from me, okay?
it's copyright. Sue us, Nintendo. Don't sue us.
By me.
Um, that seems to be the route everyone wants them to go, and yeah, you would imagine that's the most logical thing because I feel like with the Wii to Wii U was the first time that they're like, hey, we have this major success. Let's try to keep it's super similar with minor adjustments type thing. Was like every other console generation before, they were going wildly off the beaten path, like N64 to
Yeah.
GameCube, wild. GameCube to Wii, wild. But with this now, I feel like it's just become way more than it was of a household thing. Like it's reached that Wii levels where everyone has a Switch. Adults have Switches. Like it's just a thing to have in the house now. It feels like.
Oh yeah, yeah. You play your Switch. You don't go play video games, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's every game's a Mario game, you know.
yeah.
But it's reached that new heights where, yeah, you want to keep that branding as much as you can, and like you said, make it easier for third parties specifically to be on that platform. Like you said, I'm sure they're selling well, especially sports games, because you have that much of a player base. Like it's going to sell either way.
And you could take it on the go.
You take it on the go. But if they were able
That's
to,
like,
oh, go ahead.
oh, you were talking. Sorry, go
Oh,
for it.
sorry. Yeah, if they were able to get that with third parties elsewhere, I don't think they're going to get it to be on par, obviously, with. I don't even think it's going to be on par with like a PS5 or Xbox Series X at this point. If it is, like, that'll be max settings for this thing. But if they can get it in a way where, sure, your third party games like Mortal Kombat, whatever, still running lower quality, but it's running smooth and handheld, everything still works, like, I think just up that enough. I honestly feel like that would be enough for some people. Because Nintendo stuff.
I
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I think things running smoother really helps, and I agree with that a lot. That was
That's
it. Sorry.
okay. That's fine. No, it's not gonna be night and day. It's not gonna be 100. It's not gonna be a PS5 Pro out here running these things, but just enough where the conversations and the memes about it being that noticeably different, like we were getting in the past, are gone. I think it's smooth sailing because on it, obviously we've seen Nintendo first party. They don't really care about that. All their games are, for the most part, breathtaking works of art that run okay outside of Pokemon. We're not talking about you. Um, on the hardware they have now. So yeah, give them a little boost. Your Mario Galaxies and stuff, Mario Galaxy or Super Mario, whatever the next thing is, gonna look great.
You
Gonna
mean that
be
open world Mario 3D game?
that Odyssey 2
That well, Odyssey, I would. Is it open world or is it just
open
you
zone.
know open zone? Yeah, I just say we saw like a whole map with the new Pokemon games, and even though they're separate studios, that did not run well. So can't even think of a Mario open world. I think, but man, you get better hardware. That new 3D Mario platform is just one giant mushroom kingdom.
Hmm, give it to me. But yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
think they just need to. It, yeah, they're in a hardware spot. I think because yeah, Pokemon doesn't run well. And that's like their it should be a flag one of their tent it is one of their tent poles, right? But man, it makes the Switch look bad.
which
Like it
that's
isn't powerful enough.
the Pokemon's kind of what brought on me wanting to bring this up for the conversation this week because this week was Pokemon Worlds Championship down in Honolulu this week. And they usually always have some sort of Pokemon Direct this week to talk about the next stuff. And they didn't for the first time in a long time. Which we have the new title announced. They revealed it already. And obviously now I would say it's Switch 2 game. I wouldn't say a Switch 2 launch game. But I feel like they're really taking their time this go around. They saw the stuff online. Even with the sales, record breaking sales, they've seen the disapproval of where they were going and how badly that was on the Switch, that I feel like they're taking a little more time, hopefully, to get it better.
Oh yeah, you would hope so. Yeah, I can see it being a launch title. Uh, But then what do you pair that with? I mean, they have games ready to go. That's the talk on the town. They're just waiting, right? And it's a hardware issue because the Switch 2 wasn't ready, but it will be what we're thinking March. They're following a similar window to the first Switch,
So yeah,
which would
March
be
should
cool.
be what, 8 years? If it was
That's
March 2025.
crazy.
Which yeah, that's the gap between 360 and Xbox One. Like that's a long generation.
I like that length of a generation.
Oh, I do too, compared to every 3 years having to fork out $400, $300.
Yeah, no. They just add a different letter to it. Um, yeah.
So yeah, if March, we going with March, going with early 2025. What would you want or guess from a launch game? Looking back at the Switch, had very minimal, but it had Breath of the Wild, which is the one obviously. 1-2 Switch was there, Bomberman was there,
Yeah, I
but
think
there wasn't a
it
lot.
depends on like what the system is. You know, GameCube to Wii, you wouldn't have predicted a Wii Sports. You know, but damn, Wii Sports was great. Switch Sports just isn't there. Just isn't there. Um, I'd have to imagine you have if it's just basically a model upgrade in a way, right? That's kind of what we're saying here, what we're thinking it's going to be. I think if that's true and there's not like an additional gimmick they're adding where it's also, you're using your legs only this time, you're also I don't know, there's so many weird things they could add to a Switch. Remember they had cardboard things they sold,
Labo?
the Labo. So they could
Yeah.
do anything. They could do anything. But if it's just that, I think you just need a 3D Mario platformer. Mario Galaxy 2. Mario whatever, Mario Mushroom Kingdom, whatever they call it, whatever their angle for that game is. I think that's all you need. And then every other game is upgraded because of this new hardware, right? I think that would be enough. Maybe you have a thing or two that's smaller but not too big. But I think if this is a console that is upgrading everything as well, it's going to run everything better. Man, you don't really need to push too much there. You just need to explain what it's doing and show off how it's doing it and how drastic or the improvements are and why you should upgrade, and that's enough because you can play Mario the best on our new hardware, but you can have a similar experience on our old one. I think that's it's interesting marketing that to people who don't watch or listen to video game stuff
Mm-hmm.
because how do you convince a parent to buy that? But do you even need to? Like, I don't know. I just don't. If the angle is a better Switch, I don't think that's for the mainstream audience, right? That is more for a niche crowd or for the parents just buying something new and they happen to buy the best one out there.
I would say to that though, that's almost how I am. If you're a parent in that situation where you're that not out of touch but not keeping up with things, I feel like that's how it would be in general. Like your kid, if you had a PS4 and they want a PS5, and they're like, "Oh, it's the next newer thing. It does things better." Like, I feel like that's just kind of how across the board it's presented. And I mean, sure, some kids are like, "Oh, my friends are on this or whatever," and parents don't understand. Like, yeah, stay in that ecosystem. But I feel like the argument going from a Switch to a Switch 2 will be fairly easy, honestly, in my eyes.
Yeah, that's why I think. I mean, if the name is like Switch 2 or Super Switch, I think w- we think 100% it has to be backwards compatible at this point, right? Like I have to be able to put in my cart or the
You think
cartridges.
so?
You think that it's not?
I'm on the edge. I could see it being, but if it is, I could see them doing. No, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I was gonna say I could see them doing like a time thing, like where like your original Switch 2 can, but when they do a Switch 2 Pro OLED whatever in the future, that wouldn't be able to type thing.
Oh yeah, at some point the hardware would cut off.
Yeah, just to help
Like
people transition over. But at the same time, I'm also like, it's Nintendo. if they can swindle you for another $70 for another ported version of Mario Kart 8 with all the DLC, they're gonna fucking do it.
Yeah, and I'm of the opinion that they can't do that at this generation with the Switch. I think people are done with that, like to a degree, and I think they'd get backlash if it was here's a Switch successor, whatever it's called, but here's 1, 2, 3 new games, and then here's all the other games for $50 with the upgraded visuals. Like, oh, that wouldn't feel good, and I don't think they can do that.
You know, it's a fun and hard thing to predict because Nintendo is psych that
Well, they could go either way, and they will make
yeah.
money either way. They could say, "Here's a new Switch, and actually we took all your games off your old one. You have to buy them again. You can't play anything anymore."
Yeah,
We're
they're
like,
not
"Okay."
they're not looking at Xbox and PlayStation trying to figure out what their next step is. Like whatever they're gonna do, they're gonna do it. They don't care. But that's where it's like trying to like you're throwing darts at a blind board, trying to decide like figure out what they're gonna do. Because yeah, even if it is March or early 2025, that gives them very minimal time for even marketing that thing out the gate.
Yeah, but you don't need to if it's just like the Switch 2 or Switch Pro. It markets itself because it has the Switch name. So I don't think you need to do a big run up, especially if it's not holiday season in March.
Mm-hmm.
So you just need to get it out the door to people, and then by the time summer, boom, that's when you get the marketing for holiday, right? And maybe that's where we see a Mario game. That's where we see the next big Zelda. Maybe that's where we see the Donkey Kong game.
I agree with launch being Mario. Like that would be dope. Because with the last one, I think was a Nintendo 64 with Mario 64, where it launched with one. That would be dope.
Okay, the Switch 64 because it hits 64 frames per second.
Sick. You just got yourself a
Everyone's
new
like,
job at
why?
Nintendo.
Why is it 64 frames per second? They're like, because we can. Like, we had an opportunity.
You
Like,
want
it took us.
120?
It's delayed because we couldn't get it to 64. We only got like 120. Everyone's like, you could have just gave us that.
I hope. It's a thing where I don't even know if I would get a Switch 2 right now. Which sucks to say
Oh
because
yeah,
like
no, I wouldn't.
new Mario would be cool, but like I look at my Switch now, and I played it a ton back then, but it's been collecting dust for years. And it's just I don't know what it is, if it's hard to separate from the main ecosystems I play on. But I feel like I always have to like put aside time for Nintendo stuff. And it's not like the casual thing like I want to come home to, which is weird to explain or describe, but it always feels like it's a extra step or time to get invested in their titles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, see, my Switch, like, I have a bunch of party games. You know, I have Mario Party, I have Mario Party 1, I have Mario Party 2. No, I just have the most recent one. But I have like Mario Kart, Switch Sports, Mario Golf, like games that have multiplayer modes that I played in person with friends when we were doing that more often. Uh, and then there's like Zelda, obviously. And then I did buy, and I'm still like 3 hours in. I have to commit time to it. It's the same thing. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I bought that on a whim for my Switch. I'm like, I'm gonna play a Xenoblade Chronicles. I have no idea what this game is,
that
but
one's
it's like a
time
time
sink.
commitment. And even though you can just you pick up the Switch, you sit on the couch, you're good to go. It's honestly it's one of the easier things to play. You could just pick it up and play it. But yeah, it's just like there's a commitment level where I don't invest the time into that platform either in this moment.
It'll be
But see, you said like a new Mario would be cool, but you're not getting a new Switch. Why would the new Mario not be on the old Switch, the Switch OLED, or not even that, just that one?
I wouldn't think it wouldn't. I honestly think it would. Because that's what they did with Breath of the Wild, right? Like you had
Yeah,
the
okay,
nerfed version on Wii U still. Which
yeah,
yeah,
and that's what I think we're getting. Whatever, there's like a year window of their big games that are coming out with the release. It'll be on both for that year. Oh,
it's
interesting.
yeah, it's interesting times. I'm curious to see what it is. I'm excited to be in the hype circle for it, but purchasing and playing years later, we will see. Hopefully next
What are
year,
the
early next year.
yeah? What are the odds overall? People are disappointed in the Switch 2 reveal. Whether it's just not enough, whether it's in a different direction, doesn't really matter, right? But what are the odds? There's just so much hype built around. We're all waiting for it. It's like Silk Song. We're all waiting for it. We know you're gonna announce it. We know it's coming, but what are
I
the odds they nail it or we're sad?
I could see disappointment in the reveal itself being a thing, but being quickly pushed aside once it comes out. Like people get their hands on it type thing, it'll be fine. But yeah, I don't personally to me in my circles of what I've seen, I don't think it's quite reached the levels of like Silk Song. Like it's more kind of a just a known entity type thing that everyone's like, okay, yeah, Switch 2's happening eventually. But I don't see the same sort of rabid reactions and memes and stuff that Silk Song has gotten, stuff that Kingdom Hearts 3 was getting back in the day, stuff that Last Guardian was getting. I don't think it's quite reached that level personally.
That's fair. Yeah.
It'll be
We'll see. I do think we hear about it at least by the Game Awards, not at them necessarily.
no, yeah, I feel marketing would have to start this year, depending on how early next year they're going. At least the reveal. If it's not full marketing, just announce it, announce trailer, which again Nintendo can do. They're like, hey, next Tuesday, tune in for this thing. They don't need an event like everyone else does
No.
to.
In 5 minutes, we're gonna post a trailer.
Yeah,
Of what?
YouTube
like,
crashes.
Yeah, it'll be fun whenever they announce it. I'll look forward to the internet being a hissy in that day, either positive or negative. We'll see.
Please be positive.
I know. I hope so.
Uh, with that, what have you been playing anything this week? No, you said you took a week off. You had time for anything? Did you get any time on Spectre Divide, whatever it was?
Honestly, the more I watched it, I just kind of lost interest in Spectre Divide, and then I just, with the way my week went, I was like, oh shoot, like I didn't end up playing it. So I know I still have some time. It's like 3 days, I think. I think it's the 21st it closes. I really do need to try it, but I've watched some people stream it, and I don't know, something about it. I was like, I found myself not disliking it, but like not needing to like, oh man, I need to play that. I haven't had that. And I've been away from my computer and I only have it on Steam. So
Yeah.
well, earlier in the week I was away from my computer. So, but yeah, so I need to try it. It seems like it's cool. I like that people are digging it because it is, again, we talked about it last week. It's something different. It's a 3v3 tactical shooter where you control two avatars at once and you can switch between them and bring them up to the map with you and set them up so you can have like flanking positions set up with your two people. It's just it's a different twist. It's a different take. It's a new thing in the tactical shooter genre of games like Valorant and CS:GO and such. So it's cool that it's like hitting and people are enjoying it. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here. This is their closed beta test, so it's not officially out just yet, but it seems like it's good, which is always fun. But I gotta hop into that at some point. You're not in it, right? You didn't get any.
Nope, I didn't even try to.
Yeah.
I don't know, something about these in general don't grab me. I tried Valorant around the same time you did when it came to Xbox. Didn't hit with me. Overwatch, I've fallen off on hardcore. Just, I don't know. I would prefer Call of Duty, like we talked about last week, or going back to Halo shooters. Still a ton of Fortnite, especially with the new season this week. Just not my cup of tea with how these are being small team based, squad based, round based, buying stuff in between. I don't know.
No, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, that new Fortnite season, really cool. I was like 50,000 XP away from my power armor. when the server shut down.
You didn't get it? No.
No, I was 54,000 XP away.
I maxed
And
mine.
guess what? This season, battle passes don't go away starting now.
Don't
So
they?
that's cool. Didn't they announce that? Let me fact check it.
I know they were talking about Disney
I
kind of
thought it was
forced
this
them
season.
into having like skins won't be locked in Battle Pass, so they have the opportunity to come back in the shop later type thing. But yeah, new season of Fortnite. Marvel based again. Doctor Doom's in. Absolutely murking everyone on the map. Fun time. Got a couple games in. While you fact check though, let me tell you about my nostalgic week that you pushed me into.
Oh
Because
yes, I did.
instead of playing Spectre Divide, actually, no. Before that, I want to shout out something else that I've been meaning to shout out for 2-3 weeks because I think it's something that get you into League of Legends at some point in time, which is wild to say and something you're probably like, what? But League of Legends, in the past 2 weeks, released a new game mode called Swarm, which to a trained eye, if you're on video, is essentially their copy paste of Vampire Survivors in League of Legends
Oh.
with, I believe there's 9 characters total. There is 4 maps with bosses at the end of each one when you get to the final wave. 4-player multiplayer you can unlock to play through. And it is chaotic, just absolute, more wild than Vampire Survivors gets, mostly because the multiplayer and just the smaller map size and the different abilities and stuff that this game has comparatively. It gets wild. It's a fun time. They have your characters kind of copy their abilities in League of Legends proper, where their attacks kind of do the same thing. You have an ultimate that kind of does similar effects, whatever. But it's just something. It's different. Something I wasn't expecting from them to do. Not perfect in any way, shape, or form. It's a limited time thing. I don't know how much longer, but definitely something to check out if you're a fan of those style of things. I know back when we started this, Brotato came out on Xbox. We touched a little bit and good mindless brain rot fun.
Yeah, I'm not playing this.
I'm not playing it.
You're not getting me in the league.
I would. Yeah,
It's cool though. It's fun when games can add like fun little modes like this and that are different, but to play on the game itself. And who doesn't want a mode like this, a rogue like type mode
Right,
ish?
and you got a
No,
large cast of characters and wild shit already. Like it makes sense.
yeah, a fun little like project small team can work on, and all of a sudden it's like hell yeah, here it is. That's cool. What else? What else? But I'm happy you talk. Wait. You haven't even talked about
Haven't
what
talked
you
about
hopped into this week. I
it.
know.
Yeah, I
You teased me with it, and then you jump
jeez.
to this
I've been
dumb
meaning to
game,
talk about Swarm for
this
weeks because it's
stupid
the
game that
time.
no one plays except you.
And now I'm playing another stupid game that no one plays. After
Except you.
I was peer
Super.
pressured online by one at Califish30.
Hey, don't put me on that. Hold on.
Back up,
I
back in World of
encourage.
Warcraft,
No peer pressure.
back in WoW. Subscriptions done again. Games download
Yeah.
after 6 hours, and it's mixed feelings. it's it's a weird time.
So what are you playing right now?
So
Are you playing like the most recent expansion, or are you just playing
yep, this
an
is
older expansion? Most
the
recent, perfect.
most recent. The original plan was to get caught up through the story by the time War Within comes out, which is out this week, which is not going to happen. So once Tuesday rolls around, that'll be all hands in on that. It's a weird time because everything is like max XP gains. They want everyone to get their characters ready for the new thing, so it's that weird transition where all
What's grind?
holds are off. Yeah.
I know it. I've done it in Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
You're just running around like it's almost here.
And it's still after years. It's everything's so natural. Like the game hasn't dramatically changed, obviously, but this time around, it's been therapeutic, which is weird to say. But like I was on the first night, Been streaming a ton. I think we streamed about 10 hours this week, like most I've streamed in forever, having a blast. But
Yeah, you've been on it.
I was on,
I've hopped
and
in a couple times.
did you? Nice.
Sorry.
One of my old guild members from 8, 9 years ago that I haven't talked to, like we're on Facebook, whatever, friends, randomly logged on again. And we were just talking like it was the old days, and we both were, he was like, yeah, I got back on a week ago, and he was like, it almost feels like I needed to for what's coming, which is kind of what I said when I was debating this last week, to get in for the last expansions, to get in for that final story and see what they do with it. And just playing it, there's that feeling of closure almost like overshadowing everything that I'm doing now. I'm like, okay, this is the early steps, and I have random queue for a dungeon. They have instant dungeon finder, where back in the day you had to like talk to people and get people settled yourself. Now it does it for you and it throws you in. And people usually never talked before. You got in, you did the stuff, everyone left, didn't say anything. But now you get in and everyone's like, hey, you guys ready for a new thing? You guys ready for War Within? What do you think's gonna happen? Like, it's almost brought back the sense of community that's been lost for so many years. And it just feels good. Like, I imagine what it was like with Destiny 2 going to the final shape. And just that camaraderie is back to the fullest extent, and old players are returning to this world for one of the last times. Like, it's a
Yeah,
different
100%.
feeling.
100% as like a nostalgia feeling in a way. That's really cool that like the community is responding as well to this. Because that side, I mean, this is just another WoW expansion. Cool and good for you all. But hey, just outside, it's just a Destiny expansion. Who cares? So I get it.
Yeah, that's, I wasn't expecting it. Like, I was expecting it to be, again, by the numbers, like, cool, your stuff you've been grinding for years is going to be replaced by a gray item in less than 12 hours by a new expansion stuff. Like, I was expecting that this is the way we do things. This is the cycle starting over again. But just the overall community, and it's been
And
really
people
taking it
want to
different.
play it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. Again, Tuesday, final 3 chapters begins. Um, I'm just now realizing I'll be out of town Tuesday for a concert. So Wednesday after work, we'll be starting War Within on stream. I literally just thought about that. It's like, damn.
That's amazing. That's cool though. Who are you seeing?
So I actually have 2 in a row, which is wild for North Dakota. I'm seeing my favorite band and Berlin tomorrow, about 4 hours away, and
Hell
then
yeah.
the day after on Tuesday, In This Moment and Ice Nine Kills are an hour away on the way home. So I'm stopping and seeing them as well.
Okay. I knew 2 out of those bands.
Which is
I've heard
wild
of 2 of
because
them.
when Ice Nine Kills is actively opening for Metallica on the side, and they're in Minneapolis tonight. And I'm like, oh, we'll see you in 2 days, and you're in Minneapolis for Metallica. It's a weird feeling.
That's cool. Yeah. That's funny though. Yep, you're not going to be playing the new WoW expansion on Tuesday.
Yeah. And again, I was thinking about it, I was like, I bought the expansion last year. Like, when they announced it, I pre-purchased it already. So I'm like, I have this. Like, I need to.
I mean, basically a free game at this point.
Yeah, the money is
That was
already
last year's money.
far out of my mind.
That's cool. Yeah. I hope this hits for people, you know?
And
And I hope you enjoy your time with it.
I wish they still did player-based numbers, because I would be interested to see the upswing this has when this launches.
Oh, you'd have to imagine if it's positive in any way, they'll talk about it a little bit.
I don't know. They used to like monthly subscription releases, and they stopped once it started going downhill when I quit. But yeah, it's been good.
You know, that does make sense when you be going up all the time and you're
Yeah.
the moment it drops to a normal level, it looks bad. You're like,
No,
oh
we never
shit.
did that. It's good. And it's I know with like in you and Destiny, you have multiple characters like geared out, whatever.
Got the 3, yep.
My WoW experience has been kind of tied to like my whole gaming experience, honestly. My first character, which is on screen now, is the only one I've ever had max to level. It's the only one I've ever gone through the story with. It's the only one I've ever geared out. It is where I got my gamer tag from back in the day. Like I was never an alt person, and I've always had the entire experience on this one character whole way through all these years. Which is another thing. It feels right to be back for the ending with
Yeah,
the same
that's
thing.
how I was. Yeah, that's how I was with Destiny. My hunter was. I've only played through the story fully on my hunter. I've touched the other classes for fun, but yeah, I main that hunter, so it's like it feels right to end it there. It's really cool. It echoes exactly how I was feeling in a lot of ways with Destiny, the final shape. I hope this doesn't mean that Blizzard is going to be firing a bunch of its employees and scaling back
I don't. It's again.
because that's what
There's
Bungie did.
I know. Again, there's 3 expansions out of this. Like this is just the first one. Um, Usually it's about 2.5 years in between expansions. They came out and said that'll be much shorter this time around. So maybe every year, year and a half, leading up to these final three. Uh, and the wording they've used is setting up for the next 20 years of WoW. So whatever that World of Warcraft 2 from scratch, brand new thing, whatever that is, who knows if it's going to be hey, midnight and the last Titan, the next 2 expansions come out, and they just announce the next one like normal, and they just do it that way. I don't know. Just be interesting.
Yeah, it's so funny how it's like sounds exactly like what Bungie said. We're gonna do expansion. We have 3 echoes, and then we're gonna, set up the future of Destiny. It's
And
like
then Sony moved in.
okay, but we don't know what's next. Like you have this, but you don't know what's next for WoW. So we'll see. It's setting up something.
Uh, Before I move on, I also need to quickly here, since Blizzard has eyes on me and is watching me and actively saw my credit card be put back into the system, and a day later they announced the new trailer for the Overwatch season. And at the very end, they were like, "Hey, we're adding some World of Warcraft skins to Overwatch now, so you can give us money over here too." Stop it! I'm not going to give you money. Lich King is awesome. Just because you saw me resub to WoW doesn't mean I need to come back to Overwatch 2 and give you money over there too. Stop watching my credit card,
That's
Blizzard.
funny. I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, it was literally like the next day after I resubbed. I was like, "Oh, you sons of bitches."
Yeah. That's cool though.
Which they've done it in the past, but this is like Lich King Sword. This is like the nostalgia one to go back to back in the day. Not
Oh, for
gonna do
sure.
it.
I mean, yeah, don't do
Not gonna do it.
it.
No Overwatch 2 for me. But that's all I've been playing. Again, I've streamed the shit out of WoW. That has been all I've been doing this week on my free time, and for the foreseeable future.
I love that. Yeah, I hopped into Baldur's Gate 3 again.
Oh,
Played that the last 2 nights. That's fun.
have you beat it yet?
No,
Okay. It's like
yeah, I fell off hard,
we
and
still
then
have our playthrough going weekly about still
yeah, I'm
working
still
through.
in. Sorry,
No, you're good.
still in Act 1. I'm early.
Oh yeah, okay. So we passed you finally. We're like
I
beginning
haven't
of Act 2.
even gone to the mountain pass yet.
The game's only been out for a year and a couple hundred hours later, Kyle. Come on.
And I only have like 70 in it, I think. I don't
Oh,
have that many,
only.
which is a lot. But when you have a lot of characters and when you think about how much time you're just sitting listening to dialogue, it makes sense that all of a sudden the numbers like get up there in the hours. Uh, but yeah, been playing that. We'll see if I keep playing that. I just have been in like a funk lately. Like I beat Dungeons of Hinterberg, and I haven't been able to like get into a game other than casually playing Madden, and you know, not anymore. Downloaded a golf game, casually playing that, but like nothing has grabbed me, uh, except Baldur's Gate 3. So we'll see if that sticks. But I, yeah, that was it.
Hey, that's fine. What golf game? Is it golf club or PGA?
Oh, the PGA one.
Okay, okay. It's like, well, I got when the first golf club came out, I dove into that hardcore for no reason whatsoever. But
Oh no, just EA PGA Classic Golf, whatever it is on Game Pass. I downloaded it. It's honestly fun. It's really relaxing.
it's one of those mind shut off things, you know.
Yeah, I like the yeah. It presents your make your golfer pretty much right away, and then that's kind of how the game is given to you. You could play as other golfers, but who the hell knows professional golfers if you're not Tiger Woods, right? Like I know Tiger Woods, and that's it. That's just where I'm at. So I like that they're just like, here's your golfer, go, and you just level it up in anything you do. It's fun. But yeah, not I'm not really playing anything exciting. I'm in a and we'll see what truly grabs me.
But yeah, there should be a lot coming up. We're about to hit a super busy time for releases in the
Oh
next
yeah.
coming weeks, so we'll sure have lots to talk about from Astros out to Dragon Age. What's the new name for it? Whatever the new Dragon Age is, finally got a release date for October, so that's finally confirmed.
Veilguard.
Veil, yes, thank you. Stalker's out next month. Warhammer Space Marines out next month. Echoes of Wisdom, like we said, is out next month. Star Wars Outlaws is out in
Man,
11
I need
days,
that to
12
do well.
days. Needs.
I need that to do well because my fantasy critic is starting to look sad.
What
But I have a banger list of titles. I don't care what you say.
you have a banger list of titles for 2025.
It's
Oh,
both years. You have to include both years.
um, the other one, quick shout out. Plucky Squire finally got a release date.
Oh yeah, and it's in PS Plus
Yeah, PS
as well.
Plus, September 17th. So if that's something you've had on your radar, it has been on mine and kind of floating in the void the most recently this year. But randomly dropped a release date this past week, so good to see. Just sucks it's in
As
September with Astrobot.
interesting there, yeah. Yeah, I'm more interested now that it's in PS Plus because I'll have it at that moment. So I might try it, but we'll see. Probably we'll see. Maybe if I get to September and nothing has grabbed me, maybe I'll try anything. Maybe even Bioshock.
Maybe even League of Legends.
Maybe no. I like myself too
Enjoy
much.
your life. Don't do it.
I think I played it once, like
That's all
a
you need.
round or two, and then I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah, that's all you need.
But
Uh,
oh yeah, can I talk about Arco real quick?
oh yes, yes. You sent this to me before we started here.
Yeah, so I got a shout out to. Oh wait, let me make sure I read it right. But Arco, a little kind of side scroller adventure game, reminds me kind of like of the point and click adventures, but also there's some like combat to it too, which I've enjoyed. But yeah, so I got a code through from Pop Agenda through uh, Panic there, who's the developers. So thank you to them. It's a fun little game. Yeah, it's like a story game. The pixel art is cool. I'm only like an hour in. I got through like the first act, and things drastically changed. I was very surprised with how the first act ended. I felt like I made a mistake, and maybe I did. But then the next one started, and I was like, oh, and it's a totally new scenery and such. So the combat is simultaneously. You take your turns at the same time, so it's turn based, but you're doing it at the same time. So you kind of have to predict where the enemies are going to be moving or attacking because their projectiles will move as you are moving too. So I found that harder than it should have been for me, which has delayed me playing this more. But so far, I've really enjoyed my time with it. So I think it's on Steam right now. I'm hoping to get to a point where I could do a proper review by the end of this week. And such. But I just wanted to point this out. Fun little game so far. I'm intrigued with what it's doing because like I said, the first two acts were different, so I don't know how they tie in yet. But we'll see.
Oh, cool. Yeah, this is. I'll have to keep an eye out because, like I said, you just sent this to me as we were starting, so something has completely underswept the radar for me personally.
Yeah, it's just a small thing that isn't known too much, but there's something about the art style and the combat that like intrigued me. So I was just reached out and got a code. So keep playing it. But the story is interesting. I mean, like, there's like a little mystery with what they're doing. I'm not sure with what's going on, and I like that. But man, that combat's hard. Like, my brain hasn't. My brain has taken just a couple seconds, couple moves, couple rounds too long to understand. Like, okay, if I move this way, I won't get hit. But
So
if I
it's
move every other way, I will get hit, and I figured that out.
so it acts like Super Hot then. Have you played Super Hot?
Yes, yeah, that's a
Okay.
unique way of putting it. I've only played Super Hot in VR,
Okay.
so I was like, yes, when you move, they move. But I guess when it's not in VR, that it would work the same way as this. Then,
Yeah,
huh.
just different perspective on it, I guess.
Yeah, man, Super Hot VR is fun.
One day I will dig out my PSVR 1 because I still need to finish Moss.
Well, you should.
Should.
And I gotta dig out my Meta Quest too.
Justice for
Hmm.
VR.
Yes. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, I'm hoping to play more of this by the end of the week and have a review out by Friday, hopefully. So
Dope. Well, we can hear more about that and your review next week, Sunday, when
hmm
we join back up again, covering Gamescom announcements, if there's anything of note, and whatever else wild stuff happens this week. Halo on PlayStation, who knows? Forza on PlayStation, who knows? Xbox
Master
buys
Chief Collection, 100%.
Xbox buys PlayStation, who knows? Uh, at this point, anything's possible. But till then, keep gaming, happy times, spread some happiness and joy this week. Much too short time for negativity. Share the games you love. Have a good time. Peace.